All right, go for
Thanks,
it.
David.
Yeah.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you so much for coming to my Bold Talk. Today we're going to talk about the Rainforest Business, and we're going to tell you stories about nature and the insights, the innovations that could be triggered in you from coming to nature and to the rainforest. So we're going to talk a little bit first as nature as the ultimate innovator. Then I'm going to tell you 3 stories from the rainforest that give you a taste, a sampler of the sorts of discoveries, of the sorts of strategies that might help you. And finally, we'll wrap up. And I come from Panama. Panama is a country, but it's also a bridge of land that emerged 3 million years ago. It was the last piece to connect North and South America and led to the exchange of the contrasting animals and plants from both continents. The combination of this incredible variety of life results in this magnificent, a country of magnificent rainforests, magnificent cloud forests, with incredible combinations of life forms, but also places where life is freed from harsh winters, where life is free of droughts, and where each life forms, the plants, the animals, the microbes, combine and interact and develop the most intricate and wonderful strategies, wonderful interdependencies that life can show us. Nature is the ultimate innovator. Life has been experimenting for 3,000 million years, 3 billion years of experimentation. No one has more time, more experience innovating than life and than evolution. There are more than 8 million life forms on Earth. And each life form, you have to think that each life form is a unique solution to the challenges of life, to the challenges of finding food and nurture, of avoiding being eaten, of avoiding predation and parasitism, of collaborating with other life forms, collaborating with fungi, with microbes, with plants, with other animals, to find a way to thrive, to create a niche and survive within its ecosystem. Nowhere else is this plethora of solutions, this plethora of innovations, this plethora of ideas more evident than in the rainforest. From gigantic trees that emerge above the canopy, having won the fight for sunlight, to tiny little mushrooms that often associate with the roots of the trees in order to exchange different nutrients and thrive. From a cactus that grows on the top of the trees, hanging down and blossoming from the edge of its leaves, to macaws that actually eat very toxic seeds, but also eat clay in order to detoxify the seeds that they eat. Every life form in the rainforest is a unique solution to the problems and the challenges of surviving in the rainforest and of taking advantage of the myriad possible associations with other life forms. So our first story is called Marketing to the Thrill Seekers. And it's a story that begins with a casino. How many of you have been to a casino? Well, you've all seen these people going into a casino, and they go to the slot machines, and they stay hours on the slot machines. They're so alluring. My grandmother, my late grandmother, bless her heart, she used to love to go to these places and would spend hours throwing nickel after nickel after nickel on the slot machines. And, you know, these people, on average, they get back, for every dollar that they put in, they get back 99 cents. That's the average of the slot machines. But if each machine would give you 99 cents every time when you put in $1, nobody would play. It would be so boring. What people go for is for the chance that the next push of the button, the next crank of the machine will give them the jackpot, the bonanza. This is an addiction machine. Many people don't seem to be able to stay away from the chance that the next try will give them the prize. This is also an addiction machine. Heliconia psittacorum. What you're seeing is actually an aggregation of several flowers. There are many flowers here. There are tubular flowers, But unlike other heliconias, which all have nectar, most of these flowers are a ripoff. They're empty. They have no nectar. But a few of the flowers in this bunch have a ton of nectar. They're like a jackpot. They're these bonanza flowers, but only a few of them are bonanzas. It has been shown that hummingbirds they love these flowers, and they will methodically, doggedly go into every flower, even though most flowers are empty, and going for the bonanza. The services of pollination rendered by this, in this case a long-tailed hermit, to the heliconia are far better, far more thorough in this model, in this bonanza blank model, than in other heliconias where hummingbirds just miss some of the flowers. To the hummingbird, despite all the rip-offs, this lure of these few bonanza flowers is irresistible. Our next and second story is called Let the Front Lines Decide. And it's a story about an army. It's an army of ants. Army ant swarms can be colonies of up to 500,000 individuals, and they roam to the tropics. They cover a different area of the rainforest every day, looking for small prey animals and terrorizing everybody, basically. So we have a video here. We hope it runs up well. You can see this army ant swarm came out of the rainforest onto the Mamoni Valley Preserve. The ants, you can see them here, are carrying a chunk of a very large brown grasshopper. Two ants are working on bringing it back to the camp, back to the colony, and they bring all manner of prey. Raiding columns go through the buildings and go through the greenery and clean up. They look for geckos, they look for beetles, they look for small lizards, they look for spiders, scorpions, slugs, snails, anything they can carry away. We love these visits. When they come to the lodge, they clean house, and in a few hours they're gone. We have no bugs. It's vermin-free. The exterminators came. This is a colony at camp. These guys, there's about 500,000 ants at the base of this large tree camping for the night. Every night they'll move to a new site to find a new camp, and that's where the camp is. So they're really an army and moving along every day, most of the time. Here you can see a few ants, a column of ants, a platoon, carrying out the larvae from a wasp nest. So they've raided a wasp nest and taken away the larvae. This is food for the camp for the night. Now, the variety of, put yourself inside an ant. Imagine yourself the size of an ant. And look at the prey items that you have to take over. Scorpions, slugs, a harlequin beetle, an anolis lizard, a foot-long stick insects. Most of these prey are larger than any single ant, and they are of the most varied sizes and shapes. More than 30,000 different prey items are available to the ants in Panama alone. And this wild variety nevertheless doesn't faze the ants. The ants in the front lines know exactly what to do. They know how to overpower, kill the prey item, and moreover, be efficient about it. They only dedicate the exact number of ants necessary, the minimum necessary, to kill the prey item, and they know how to chop it in pieces and make the pieces the right size, the right shape for each of the ants, which are of different sizes to carry back to the camp. Each ant is getting an optimum load to carry, given its capacity, and to carry back to the colony and to the camp. Ants not only make these decisions on the fly without consulting headquarters, without going through any bureaucracies. Here we have another example. These ants have formed a bridge. The ants are linking to each other via their own legs and grabbing onto each other, and they've made a bridge that connects through a gap. Other ants are using this bridge, and they're moving along. None of the ants, individual ants here, has an overall picture of what's going on. They don't have a panoramic of what's going on. But somehow they figure out that it's worth doing a bridge here, that a roundabout would be too much work, and also that many ants are going to use the bridge, and it's worth these few ants being tied up. These units are not hunting. They're tied up on the bridge, not doing other efforts, because they save the overall effort of the colony by creating and spending their time on this bridge. All of these decisions, every one of them, is made by the ants on the fly. They never consult headquarters. Ants have tiny little brains. They're simple, simple brains. And yet, a perfect little instruction manual to deal with thousands, tens of thousands of different and bizarre prey items and weird situations, water, gaps, is in there, and they figure it out on the fly. Many of our organizations could learn from devolving power and decision-making to the front lines like the army ant swarms. Our final story is about botflies. It's called an acquisition strategy. Botflies are these big, somewhat hairy, lurid with metallic colors flies. They're a fly, and botflies, many people find them somewhat disgusting. They are also parasites. They parasitize, their larvae parasitize mammals, and they grow by eating the flesh of mammals, such as a raccoon, or a howler monkey in the rainforest, or a human. This guy decided that he didn't want to have the larvae in them and wait a few weeks for the larvae to come out. He had somebody extract it. But mama butterfly has this challenge then. Nobody wants to have a butterfly larvae in them. And she has to lay the eggs on a suitable host. She has to find a mammal such as a howler monkey, or you, or me, to lay its eggs on. But butterflies are big, and they're noisy, and they are they're not very good at sneaking onto people. You would see one and would crush it right away. What does mama butterfly do to lay its eggs and live on? Well, what she does is she kidnaps a mosquito. Mama butterfly kidnaps a mosquito, and the mosquito, unlike the butterfly, is sneaky. She's silent. She can get onto you without you noticing it. Mama butterfly sticks her eggs underneath the mosquito's belly, and then when the mosquito lands on a raccoon or a howler monkey or you or me, the warmth of our bodies makes the eggs hatch. The tiny little larvae drill into the skin, and the problem of mama butterfly is solved without having to risk her life. Evolution decided to not work on changing the butterfly, on redesigning it so that it was an efficient layer of eggs. Instead, it's found this incredible shortcut, this incredible out-of-the-box solution by kidnapping a mosquito. The next time your organization is faced with the need to acquire a new skill, maybe some bizarre, critical skill that you need, consider going out of the box and pursuing an acquisition strategy wildly different, like the botfly strategy. With these 3 short stories, I hope I have whetted your appetite. I hope I have intrigued you and made you consider going more into nature, going more out there and experiencing the diversity of life and coming to the rainforest. Maybe your next great idea, your next great insight will come from a visit to the tropics, because indeed, nature is the ultimate innovator. Thank you.